Hello and welcome to another episode of Stacking Triggers, a TCG playing podcast with your hosts, Bill and Dan. Dan, you're here?
I'm here.
In person.
In person.
This is the second one where we're in person.
Yeah. I came to Pittsburgh for the birth of my new niece, and it just so happened that it fell on recording day. That I'd be in town, also with multiple TCG playing events for us. So there's a lot to talk about from that aspect.
Tons to talk about. Yeah, we had a Pioneer event.
Mm-hmm.
I participated in my first One Piece event with you. We did some weekly Magic stuff. Lots to go over. So let's kind of start with our fortnight in Magic. And we could kind of roll into the events, what we played, how we played. Dan, last week, did you get any shenanigans going on?
One Piece, yes. Modern, no. I don't think Modern.
No Magic last week?
No Magic last week.
Okay. How was your One Piece last week?
It went fine. I think it went 2-1, which is about standard. I was playing the Black Yellow Luffy deck that you were playing. No, I was playing Whitebeard last week. And Whitebeard's good. I need to figure out the Black Yellow Luffy matchup, because that's going to be a popular deck. And I think I understand it now from the Whitebeard aspect, where I just have to pressure life as opposed to letting them just exist and then they take their own life. I think I need to just force them to zero life early, and then force them to make the plays, make them make bad plays on earlier dawn. So it's just something I have to get used to.
Awesome. All right, and then last week, I played Modern Magic. I played the Mono Black Scan?
Sure.
I think that's what it's called. Deck felt very awkward to play. I did not like it. It needs some aspects. I think I went 2-1. But it still felt very hard to get there. So I saw a red-black variant, which I might try next week. But this past week, you and I both played Modern together.
Yeah.
Dan, you were on Murktide,
sure
and
was.
I was on Teamer Prowess.
Yeah. Yeah, you can put that in quotes.
Yeah, that's in quotes because there's like 2 cards that... Well, no, you're only playing it for Pick Your Poison.
Yep.
Or if you don't want to take life with Muted Jank Growth.
Yeah, so yeah, it's like the Teamer Murktide, where it's like, this isn't actually Teamer, it's just like, it has Pick Your Poison in the sideboard.
Yeah, I got to play with a card, though, that's been out forever, that's really good, that I haven't gotten to play with before, though, and that's the Expressive Iteration. That was fun. Yeah,
Expressive Iteration's a good card, except for when you're stuck on 2 lands, and then you cast it, and then you get no lands off the top.
Yeah, that's bad. That's rough.
That's very bad.
This week, though, with the Teamer Prowess, I went
2-1?
Was it 2-1? I think it was.
You lost to me.
I lost to you. I beat the guy who was on Asmo Combo, and then...
There's another guy on Asmo Combo. But there was 2 Asmo decks at the...
I only played against 1. Oh, and then I had to buy.
Then you had to buy. You went 2-1.
Yeah, I went 2-1. Yay! I got to play 2 games of Magic.
Yeah. Meanwhile, I also went 2-1. However, I played 3 games of Magic. I beat Bill 2-1, and we can talk about the Spell Pierce coming in for Murktide.
Yes.
But then I played Amulet. It was a close match. Game 1, I had Ragavan in my opening hand, and I'm on the play, and I'm like, this will get me there. And I got, it was 4 turns of me just hitting on the Ragavan. It was like, please, fucking anything. And I kept drawing lands, and it's like, I can use an Expressive Iteration right now, a Preordain, a Murktide, because I dumped a bunch of counterspells early. Murktide would just come in and just won the game immediately.
You just needed an extra land.
I just needed 6 lands apparently. And then game 2 I won. Murktide, actual card Murktide coming in, and then enough counter spells. And then game 3, it was kind of a repeat of game 1 where my threats weren't very good. The best threat I had, I think, was just Delirious DRC. And eventually I got to the point where he had Cavern of Souls naming Dryad. So he had 2 Dryads on the battlefield, and then I go for a Subtlety end of turn because I'm looking to top deck an Expressive Iteration to potentially hit double bolt, and then I can just kill him on the backswing. But he goes Endurance, removing my graveyard, so that takes me off of Murktide. That takes me off of Lightning Bolts, because now he's at 7. I'm at, 2 Lightning Bolts to 6.
Yeah.
So there's just no way for me to win from that spot. So,
Yeah.
just the way it is. And then we played. Then I played another Asmo deck. This had the Persist package.
Yeah, it was the Reanimator version.
Yeah.
And this guy said he literally threw it together before he got
Yeah,
there.
it's the one with Archon of Cruelty. Archon of Cruelty is a good card. And the Persist package with Archon, it came out in MH2. Both of those cards came out in MH2 for a reason. Yeah. Game 1, I mulled to 4, and in Murktide, when you mull to 4, boy, you are in for a bad time. Except my mull to 4 was land, spell snare, counterspell, and counterspell. Yeah. Yeah, so he cookbooks turn 1 and then pitches Archon, and then so I leave up my 1 blue, my 1 mana, and then he goes, okay, persist. I'm like, cool, here's a spell snare. And he's like, all right, pass turn, and I draw, and then there's my second land, so I play the second land, and then he's like, okay, cool, persist, and I'm like, counterspell. And then he goes, okay, pass turn, and then I start assembling cards, and he's like, okay, persist, and I'm like, okay, counterspell, and it's like, so there went everything.
That was 3 persists.
3 persists to my 3 counterspells, one of which being a spell snare, which fucking MVP of that match just by itself.
Oh yeah.
In the main deck, it's something Murktide players are on and off about. I think it's currently good, because you have Gorios in this meta, Cauldron,
threats,
other stuff in Yawgmoth 2, Bowmasters typically, there are uses for it. It's relatively narrow. It's nothing in Titan. That's the first cardboard, the first sideboard card you take out from your deck is Spell Snare, because it hits fucking nothing. But yeah, and then game 2 was much more standard. I went. It was funny, the way I closed out the game was I had a 15-15 Murktide.
Jesus.
Yeah, I max. Was it 15-15 or was it 13-13? It was a 13-13.
It was in the teens.
Yeah, because I went 8-8 Murktide, pass, and then my opponent's like, all right, I can't deal with that, so I'm just gonna try to position myself so I don't die to that next turn. And then I draw a second Murktide. I'm like, oh, I didn't think about this being a thing. Second Murktide? Make a 13-13?
Oh my god. Yeah. And he was just like, well, kill me.
I mean, he was making food. He had the Oval Chase thing, and we talked about this, the Surgical Extraction that is now being played, which you gave me your playset. That came in for the Archon of Cruelty, and I of course waited. I had a Ragavan, and I actually cracked a treasure to pay for the Surgical.
Yeah,
but
you didn't have to do that.
I didn't have to, but he goes persist, and I'm just like, okay, I'm in response. I'm going to just Surgical your Archon of Cruelty.
Yeah.
By that, he only has 3, 2 of which were already in the graveyard. So just cool. So
Rip them all out.
You have nothing. There's just you have to get to Asmo here, and your Asmo doesn't kill my Murktide because it's an 8/8. So you have to have 4 foods on the battlefield, and you don't, because you keep sacking them to keep living.
Yes. Yeah.
So yeah, game 2 was just pretty easy.
Nice. Yeah. You and I played against each other. Round 1.
Yeah. Actually, in both this and both that and the One Piece event, we both played against each other in round 1.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not in Pioneer, though.
Not in Pioneer. I'm kind of glad we didn't.
Yeah, I'm glad we didn't either.
Could you imagine IDing round 1? We'll talk about that in a minute.
We'll talk about that in a minute.
But, yeah, so you and I played. I was on, again, Teamer Prowess, and you were on the Murktide.
Yep.
And what all do we bring? So
I think I won game 1. Yeah, I won game 1 because you won game 2. So, so in game 2, you bring in Spell Pierce.
Yes. Yep. I brought in Spell Pierce because I'm dumb, and I'm thinking if you're stuck on low lands, and you're trying to ponder or get expressive off, I can counter it and have you still stuck on resource denial. Or if you're tapped too low, if you try to blow me out after I pump a guy up, I can Spell Pierce to protect the guy. Or it's Spell Pierce.
Yeah, Spell Pierce.
It's Spell Pierce. My bad.
So I disagree with that. Someone in the Peanut Gallery did not agree with my assessment. They're like, no, I think it's great against Murktide. It's Like ifs and buts, man. Like if we're playing ifs and buts in Magic, it's just kind of like,
yeah. I should have probably saved it as removal protection.
No, I think when you used it correctly. Because that was an expressive iteration on 2 lands.
Yeah,
like and you spell pierce that, and it's just like, okay, I don't do anything, so I just conceded from that spot because it's like I'm not going to win this game.
Yeah. You said though in general you don't like it in against Murktide.
No, because like you're not trying like Murktide is a tempo deck, and yes, like if you can swing back tempo with a spell pierce, sure. But again, note there that I said an if.
Yeah.
Like it's not like it's the game plan. You're playing Spell Pierce mainly for Cascade matchups, and this is when Cascade matchups were prevalent.
Yeah.
Creativity, Goryo's, the Persist deck that you played against that. Like when their win condition is a spell, is like an instant or sorcery. That's when you will use it.
Yep.
I don't feel like you bring it against Murktide because it does hit stuff, but like all right, let's pretend that's your last card in hand. And I go Murktide.
Yeah.
Well, what do you do to that?
Yeah, there's nothing I can do other than just throw blockers in front
if you can. So like again, ifs.
Yeah.
But like I don't in general like the card. They're like, oh, I don't. Peter Geller is also like, oh, I don't like Tormod's Crypt against Murktide. And it's like Tormod's Crypt is better than Spell Pierce against Murktide because
I like the Tormod's Crypt too because if you're getting like close or say DRC is at Delirium, you can turn it off.
Yeah, and you can do that as a combat trick too, where you can go, okay,
no longer has flying, let me block.
No longer has flying, let me block with something, and then my thing doesn't die, and your thing does.
Yeah.
And then you brought in Pithing Needle, which I wanted to like smack you.
Oh yeah, that one was just a meme to try and Pithing Needle your Flooded Strand, I believe.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, you've heard me talk about it multiple times with Murktide. You don't play Scalding Tarn in Murktide because it's on color. You don't play your on color fetches unless you absolutely have to.
Yeah. Yeah, so like that's the only reason why I brought it is because I knew in your deck you didn't have
as a metagame against specifically me and probably other Murktide players, but still like as a metagame against me.
Yeah, fine. That was it, and it was like I didn't even draw it, but I mean it triggers prowess too, so it's fine. Like I just named something. Whatever. But yeah, that was our Magic stuff before the main events. Do we want to save the RCQ for later, and we want to talk a little bit about One Piece now, or do we?
Yeah, because One Piece there's not as much to talk about. We were supposed to do on recording day a One Piece 1K. I was very excited for it. This was actually like the big reason I was coming. Like, not obviously the big reason was my sister's like new kid.
Family was
my new niece. Family was the reason, but like the thing I've been talking about for months with people in my circle is there's a One Piece 1K going on in Pittsburgh. At the time I'm going to be visiting. I can't wait for this.
Yeah.
So we get there, and it turns out a whole 6 people have shown up for it.
Yeah, and we got there a half hour before.
Yeah.
And we were like concerned at walking in because it was like the shop was very empty.
There was a good amount of people. There was about 15-ish people. Most of them were there for like Pokemon pre-release.
Pokemon and the guy running a charity.
Yeah. And I was like, okay, there's a lot of people here. Like, I'm expecting like most of these people. I didn't know about Pokemon pre-release.
Yeah.
But like, I was expecting a lot of these people to be here for One Piece. No, only 6 people were there for One Piece, which sucked. So it just became a locals.
Yeah.
And that really deflated me.
Took the wind right out of your sails.
Because like I said, I've been looking forward to this 1K. Like I was going to use it as regionals practice for my regional on June 8th. And now it's just kind of like, well, I'm gonna fuck it. Like I don't care as much, so I'm gonna play. Like I'm gonna play, and I play with a 48 card deck like an idiot. Yeah, it's amazing. I beat Bill with a 48 card deck, and it's missing 4 really great cards that actually are very good against him in that matchup.
Yeah, well, and we were also playing. This is my second time playing in paper, so. The deck has just finally started to click a little bit for me after this One Piece tournament. But yeah, you and I played game 1, and I lost.
I had Shiraya. If that means anything to any of you, I had Shiraya against Black Yellow Luffy, which is just kind of like auto Stonewall. My opponent does nothing.
Oh, right, yeah. The blocker that just matches my Luffy's power. Yes.
Oh, it's great. Great card.
It's awful. Should be banned forever.
Probably. No, not really, but like it's probably one of the best red cards printed in a long time.
Yeah, and I couldn't get to my knockout Zabos.
Yeah, which you needed to get to.
I needed that.
If you could have gotten that, the game is completely different.
Yeah, but I couldn't get to any, or I couldn't find the babies. I can't remember.
You couldn't find Baby Sabo. You had a black Sabo, which I immediately bottom decked with law ability.
You did.
And then, you just couldn't get to the yellow Sabo or like have a decent Gecko Moria play that keeps you alive.
Yeah, no. And I was sitting with 2 geckos in hand, but nothing to do.
Nothing that would have protected you from dying to me.
No, not at all. And then second game, I go against Blue Luffy, which, boy, that's hard.
It's a blue deck. They have bottom deck effects, so they generally bottom deck effects wreck Black Yellow Luffy.
Yeah, he pretty much got to bottom deck 2 of my Sabos for free because I swung into him. He didn't block. The trigger on life happened, and oh no, it's a thing that bottoms your cards. Let me bottom your Sabo you just played.
Yet, in almost every other matchup, Sabo is amazing. Blue decks, not as much.
Yeah, and the guy was pretty salty too coming into the game. He was complaining about facing an annul deck.
Yep.
And complaining about yellow triggers, and I'm like, I'm yellow and I have triggers, but they're not the same thing.
They're not broken triggers. Like the yellow NL deck, which I played in rounds 2 and 3. Oof. Those triggers are next to impossible to navigate with certain decks. Like with red purple law in particular, it's like your worst matchup. And then because like there's cards that like heal them back another life, so you have to hit them again, and then they're up to 2. Sometimes they're 2 life because of that. And it's just like, holy fuck, I hate this deck. So yeah, like yellow's really strong. Like yellow's strong if you don't know how to play against it, or if just like you're an aggro deck and you have to do a lot of like minimum swings, or like you have to swarm the board, and sometimes they can just counter out of everything, and you're just like, well, I'm fucking dead.
Yeah, and then I had round 3 bye. So I had a whole lot. I practiced a little bit. Yeah, but and it started to make sense.
Yeah, and then for me, round 2, I played against Anel, and that's where afterwards I discovered, I'm like, where the fuck are my Kidden Killers? Because I'm like, how do I not have this card? How have I not drawn it in 2 games? And it turns out they're not even in the deck, and I'm missing just 2 cards in the deck. So I have to find them when I get home, because they're at home. They have to be. Like, they can't be anywhere else.
Right.
And then round 3, I played white. I switched to Edward Newgate Whitebeard and play against another Anel. And I play 2 9-gates. I get them to 0 life easy. Like, I don't have to invest any Dawn. I just go like 6-5, and they just take to gain their hand size. And then you have to stop until you can get enough swings on board to where you can force them to go to 0, and then hit them again. But that time they have a ton of cards in hand, so you have to do that like multiple times. Yeah, it's not fun. Yeah. So, I resolve 2 9-gates, and then they go, okay, Kingdom Come. And then I go, okay, cool, I'll play another 9-gate. And he goes, okay, cool, Kingdom Come. And that's a card that I was telling you about. 6 Dawn, KO any creature or any character, and then reduce your life total to 0. Well, guess what? Anel's already, or reduce your life total to 1. Well, guess what? Anel's already at 1, so it's like
6 Dawn.
So 6 Dawn KO anything, and it's just like, fuck.
Yeah. So it was a rough One Piece day.
Yeah, I felt like I still played the game correctly. If I saw my 5 drop Marco at any point to KO his Shirahoshi, it's a completely different game.
Would have been different.
Yeah, because he can't recycle triggers then, and he probably just has to put like one of my characters on top of my life instead.
Yeah,
which like that's fine. So it's just what it is. Nobody at my home store plays Anel. And then I was thinking about actual Anel, and I'm like, oh, I'm brain blast. I have come up with an Anel deck idea with like 12 rushers and like ways to cheat cards into play, blah blah blah. So I might try to build that and play that at locals.
Nice.
But yeah, that's One Piece. Ultimately, I'm very disappointed with today. Not because of play, not because of what I played against, just because the event that had hyped up in my mind for like 2 months wasn't firing, and I was never going to get any good practice, and it just sucked.
Yeah, it is unfortunate that it didn't happen, and like you just faced the same deck twice, which is like unfortunate.
Yeah,
because it's like It's probably going to be at your event.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so like because it's I've seen it on the simulator a couple times, and whatever weird queue I'm in that I played it in.
Yeah, you play on the Western, or you play on the Eastern server, which you should not be doing. You should be playing on the Western server.
I am in the Eastern time zone.
No, the Eastern is strictly like Japan, China, Korea, I think.
So they are too smart for me.
But no, what I mean is they are on OPO 7, which isn't out yet, and they're soon to be on OPO 8.
Okay, I won't play on there.
Yeah, that's why you're like, oh, I saw Jewelry Bonnie, and it's like, you're on the wrong fucking server, man.
yeah, because that one was really hard to play against.
Yeah, because you've never seen any of these cards, and also you don't have OPO 7 Luffy in your deck yet, because you wouldn't have thought of that.
I don't know what that is.
Right, it's a removal piece.
Okay, it's fine.
Yeah,
it's fine. A little bit of One Piece news. There were some cheaters.
There was a cheater. A couple cheaters. Yeah, you're right. A couple cheaters.
One a week, man. Gotta have one a week.
One every episode from now until the end of time.
From now until the end of time. So I showed you one. We don't have to play the clip, but like both guys were 8-1, and then he was caught cheating. Mm-hmm. And the guy called the judge up to the. It was the online one, so it's whatever. And then you had another one.
Yeah, it's a. I don't want to say her name, but like if you're on One Piece Twitter, One Piece TCG Twitter, you know who this is. It's a female player who puts up pretty good results with the deck Nami. And I don't know exactly what happened, but apparently she was like misrepresenting game states a lot, like intentionally. And I didn't look too deep into it. I just know that like her response to this has not been healthy. And I don't want to say anything more than that because, like, it's just speculation, and there's a lot, like, it's speculation on my end, and I don't want to be like, oh, this is clearly what's happening, and it's like, this is clearly not what's happening.
Right.
But she's been banned from playing.
Oof.
It's just an interesting situation because this was like somebody that was pretty well respected within the community and seemingly pretty well liked in the community, and then it just comes out they're a cheater.
That sucks. That sucks biggie time. But, yeah. So, from here, let's move on then to the Pioneer RCQ that you and I participated in. It was at the same place we played One Piece.
Yep.
It was a Friday at 1 p.m. start time.
Yes.
Which was a little sus, in my opinion, because there's not many. But the owner did say it was something he wanted to experiment with because there's 3 RCQs per store allowed.
That's fair.
And he wanted to see, like, okay, well, we have an extra one to burn. If the turnout's not great, that's fine. So he did that. 21 people total. So
which is a pretty good turnout for a Friday
at 1 p.m. For a store that's about an hour away from city center, which is actually through lots of traffic.
Yes.
So really good turnout, in my opinion, especially because the weather was really poopy. And 21 people. I was on Mono Black Discard. You were on Gruul Aggro.
Yep.
And do we just want to take it round by round?
Yeah, round by round.
Yeah. So round 1, I was against what was supposed to be my best matchup. Foreshadowing. I believe I shot myself in the foot because right before the rounds were paired, I told you, man, I hope I go against Is It Phoenix. That's like my best matchup.
It is your best matchup, though. That is a fact. It is your best matchup.
Yeah, and it was my best matchup, and it fell apart totally. There's a couple points that I recognize that I played wrong, but just kind of going through it. Game 1, I kept a notebook. Where'd it go? Oh, gosh.
Backpack.
I went blank as soon as I started talking about it. Let's see here. Yeah, I ended up not having a way to sculpt my hand at all. And so I kept a couple cards, it had a couple discards, and that was about it.
Yeah.
To try and get them off. They, of course, was 1 land and 1 land and like a million draw spells.
Right. And like that's like the Murktide thing. Like that's why Murktide has a decent matchup into Scam, is because Scam just goes, all right, grief scam you, and you're like, okay, cool.
Yeah.
Here's all my cantrips. What will you do about these?
Yeah. So I ended up. I think I took away their treasure cruise.
Which is correct.
Yeah, like that was like the only thing that wasn't a one drop in their hand, because I was like, okay, well, they're going to get there fast, so I might as well just get rid of it. Yeah, no way to sculpt my hand, and just kind of faltered and wasn't able to put anything together. Game 2, we both just kept drawing lands. It was land pass for a long time. He eventually was able to, before I could see his hand, he was able to get a Phoenix down. And then after he got a Phoenix down, I was able to look at his hand, and it was lands. It was nothing but lands.
Yeah.
So I couldn't make him discard anything. I believe I had Waste Not out there. And there was just no way for me to gain value. And he just beat me down with a single Phoenix. The entire thing, like, I drew into 0 removal spells. There was a Necromentia I had also. I ended up being able to cast Necromentia, and I was so torn on this list from this guy, because I was debating on Crackling Drake or Phoenix. Because with a Waste Not on a field, I want him to have the Ledger Shredder to get me into other things.
I think it's Crackling Drake, because that gets pumped up. Like, if you have your go blanks, they discard 2, and then they exile their graveyard. So, like, your Phoenixes, you can get rid of the Phoenixes with that.
Yeah.
The Crackling Drakes will get pumped based off of the number of spells anyway, so you just want to get, to me, you want to get rid of just the Crackling Drakes and then just turn off that avenue.
I was in the tank for such a long time on this one, I called Phoenix. And I'm glad I did. There were 0 Crackling Drakes in his deck.
Interesting.
I was very surprised.
I don't know. If
I was so surprised that there were no Crackling Drakes in there.
If you're not bringing in Crackling Drake against the Go Blank deck, like,
I looked through absolutely every card he had in there, and there was no Crackling Drake.
Sure.
Like, that was his call. I don't know if he was doing that, like, because he knew I would call Crackling Drake first.
Maybe.
Because that's just a game over card if you can't get rid of it.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was my game 1. 0-2 against Phoenix. Felt terrible.
On the other side, I played against Lotus Field, which, is aggro's best matchup. It's not even fun. I went on turns 4 and 5, man, of games 1 and 2. Like, it just wasn't, like, game 1, it was just like, I had, like, Kumino into Soulscar, and he's just like, yeah. And then on turn 3, I have a 2/3, a 1/2, and a 2/2, and then I have like 4 or 5 spells in hand, and then I just like throw them at him, and he just can't deal with them.
Yeah.
And then game 2, I go like Soulscar into Magebane Lizard, right as we get into turn 3, like Magebane correctly on curve, right before it's about time for Lotus Field to go off. So he plays Temp Lockdown, and he does the Vizier thing where he floats 2, cycles, plays Lotus Field, cycles, gets the untap, and then plays Temporary Lockdown. I'm like, cool. Slick Shot Show Off? And he's like, yeah. And I'm like, here's a spell. And then the next turn I go, all right, land, Slick Shot Show Off, 2 more spells, dead.
Nice.
Yeah, so like...
Nice. Very good.
Well, yeah, there's nothing to say about that matchup. Like, it's just like, that seems like a 90-10 matchup in my favor. Like, That doesn't seem like he can do anything, ever.
Yeah. The only thing I saw in round 1 that I could have done better was either make more use of my land base, which has draw card, discard effects for both players. So that would have been game 1, maybe, to try and get something going. I think I was just too scared of him getting a Phoenix in the yard to go, and going forward.
Yeah, that's fair.
But I shouldn't have been, because I should have been actually trying to move towards a way to get rid of stuff if he got things deployed.
Right.
Second game was a really hard one because I had Castle Lockdwing early. I also had a full grip. So I could either take a bunch of life from Castle Lockdwing or just do what I did in Dirtle and hope. And then by the time I realized I needed to cast Lockdown, it was too late because he had that Phoenix out and had hit me down to below 10.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was just a bad matchup. I should have, or not bad matchup. It was me not realizing what I needed to do early enough.
Sure.
But yeah, I don't know if you had any takeaways from.
No, there's no takeaways from
from beating
from a 90-10 matchup.
Yeah.
There are no takeaways.
Yeah. Okay. Fantastic. Then we went to round 2. I was against Rakdos Vampire. This is the big bad of the format right now. Kind of like one of the big decks.
One of them.
I was really actually nervous about this one because the Rakdos Vampires deck can go 2 ways for me. Either I get all my removal or I get all my discard. Right. like for some reason, every time I practice this matchup, it's one or the other. It's very polarized. Luckily, this time it didn't end up that way. Game 1, on curve, turn 4 Shieldred down. I was able to remove any 3-drops he had.
That's so gross.
And the entire time I was just plugging away, picking off his hand, or making him sacrifice stuff. So very, very good game 1. And then on game 2, this one was a much slower start for me. I had like 2 duresses and a thing.
Waste not?
Thoughtseize. That's it. 2 duresses and a Thoughtseize. So I kept it.
Yeah.
And somehow every time I was able to look at his hand the first time, there were always 2 Sorens in his hand somehow. Don't know how that happened.
Stack that deck.
No, he didn't.
No,
I trust him. But yeah, so a lot slower, a lot more dirtle, a lot of heavy removal is what I drew too. And I just kept being able to take care of his things. At one point, there was a mistake I made. He animated a Mutavault, and I had a fatal pushing hand with open mana, and I should have just.
Oh yeah, you stone right.
No. It wasn't fatal push. It was demolition field. I should have demo field when he activated it.
Yeah, in response. Yeah. You take that every time.
Yeah, I should have. Instead, I took a hit first, and then I was like, it's something. Yeah, but it is what it is because I did eventually find my Shieldred, and it quickly turned from there because I also had the land. He was empty-handed, and I had the Gaia Reach.
Yeah.
So like he was constantly discarding the cards he needed because he had to. And that just stacked my hand so much more. So very, very good turn. Round 2 for me. That was a win.
All right. For me, I played against Niv to Light, and I think I just kept in both games because I lost 2-0. I just kept too slow of hands. I don't think I had enough 1-drops. Well, game 1, I had like 5 it was 5 creatures. It was like Swiftspear, Soulscar, Questing Druid, 2 lands. And I'm like, this should get there with 2 Questing Druids. Like 2 Questing Druids should get me through enough of my deck that I'm just able to like win on like turn 5. Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, they went like 3 mana Leyline Binding, and then could just deal with my stuff. And I was like, okay, I think I got him down to like 3 life, and it's like fucking Wizard Lightning, where are you? And then he just like he does his like Lightning Helixes and his Niv. The worst part was he had like Omnath. He got up to like 6, and then he Omnath, played a land, got up to whatever, and then used his Bring to Light, played a Niv Mizzet, pulled nothing off the Niv Mizzet, which was like hilarious. But like I'm just like, yeah, I still can't win through this, so let's just go to game 2. And then game 2, I get him down to 1 life, and I'm just like, please, just don't have it. And he just had enough. Yeah. It's like, all right, well, I just don't win this game, and I just move on. The worst, I think it's just the hands, and then overboarding in game 2. I brought in Rending Volley, which I think is a mistake upon reflection. I brought it in for the Omnaths, basically, and like a couple other things. Like it did come up in game 2, but it was just like it wasn't proactive enough for me to actually do anything. I wish I would have kept in the Monstrous Rages instead, and like an additional Soul Scar. And then Pick Your Poison's coming in. I think that is correct every time though, because of the Niv Mizzet, because of the Leyline Bindings, the
Fables.
Fables, the potential temporary lockdowns. I don't think they play that though. But Leyline Binding, Fable, hitting enough of those cards, I think is correct.
Yeah. Yeah, so if you would have done something different, it would have been to not Rending Volley, but just the other ones.
Yeah, just the other ones, and then just try to aggro him out on the, especially being on the play, because he was on the. I was on the draw for game 1, so
nice.
Yeah,
nice. Game 3 or round 3 or whatever you want to call it. I went probably against one of my worst matchups.
You played against the guy I played in game 1 or round 1.
Yeah, we played the same guy. So Lotus Field. Game 1 went super frickin' long.
Yes.
We were like 20 minutes left.
About.
I think after so yeah, so that was 30 minutes on game 1. I don't remember how close. Oh, I can see right here. Yeah, I had him down to 3 life. I was really, really close. I believe I had a Shieldred out, and
that's going to help.
That's what helped me. Was I had Shieldred out. I don't think I was forcing him to discard cards at that time. I don't know if you want to make them discard, like do the draw a card, discard a card. I don't think you want to make them loot. I'm not sure though. I don't know what percent of their deck is lands.
I'd have to look at the list. I did not expect Lotus Field to even be in this field.
Neither
honestly.
did I.
Mainly because of like, I just feel like it might have been crept out. But then again, like with Phoenix being so highly represented, so like Lotus Field makes sense there. But like I also felt like you would see more of my deck of the Gruul aggro, which is just like
I think
this should gatekeep you.
I think there were 2 Gruul aggro decks.
Yeah, which I think is shocking because that deck is like $60.
Yeah, like yes, if you want to play Pioneer and want to have a meta deck and don't want to spend a lot of money, Gruul aggro.
Like actually that's not true because the slick shots themselves are like $60.
It's $120.
So yeah, it's like $100 for this deck, which is fine.
Yeah, it's that is reasonable. I feel for a competitive deck.
I mean that's like ridiculously cheap for a competitive deck because you look at some of these other decks like $200-$300.
My deck,
yeah,
because there's 3 Shieldreds.
Yeah,
well, not the version I played, but anyways, so Lotus Field, game 1 got them down to 3 life because of Shieldred. Game 2, I did a whole lot of nothing because I kept a hand that was very heavy on targeted discard. Target player discards a card. And they had gotten Leyline of Sanctity in their opening hand. So my turn 1 play was blown out because I believe I had a Duress right in hand.
Yeah.
And then turn 3 was blown out because I had Go Blanks in hand as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like that was like a big reason I kept it was to try and like get rid of those like cards that make them untap the lands.
Right.
So that sucked really bad. And I did a whole lot of nothing for a lot of turns. And then he started to combo and was discarding cards and all that stuff. And like I had up to like 13 mana in my pool at one time because I did resolve a Waste Knot.
Yeah.
And then he killed my Waste Knot when he started drawing the cards, unfortunately. Yeah. So I didn't get really a good way to do anything. What I brought into that matchup was Necromentia and Ashiok because Ultimatum will allow them to search, and Ashiok turns off Ultimatum, and then but they also have like a couple different win cons in the deck too, so which I didn't even know about.
Yeah, he was running Fae of Wishes, which is fucking weird because nobody runs Fae of Wishes anymore. I didn't think so. At least I thought it was like is it Mastermind's Petition? I think maybe Mastermind's Petition that I was seeing the black version, the black card. Yeah. So I haven't seen Fae of Wishes, and like Fae of Wishes came in like the Lotus Field combo pre-con deck.
Yeah.
And I'm like, sure, like this makes sense. And then I see it online, and it's like, oh, it's all Mastermind acquisition? Okay, sure.
Yeah. Yeah, it was weird. And he was just able to just get stuff to help himself out constantly. Dark Petition, I do not like that card. I also just don't like the Ultimatum altogether.
I mean, it's 7 mana.
It is. I don't like that they get to cast the other 2 for free.
Yeah.
Like
that's why it's an ultimatum.
That's why it's an ultimatum. That's also why there's some other things that should happen too. Like, so sideboard, I should have gone more into my Reckoner Bank Busters, and I have a 2-drop Menace creature that doesn't let players gain life. It wouldn't have been for this deck, but it would have been to be more aggro.
It would have had an aggro piece, yeah.
It would have been to be more aggro, so that way I could try and beat him before he could combo.
Right, because the problem with Waste Not is it just kind of sits there a lot of the time.
Yeah.
And Lotus Field's like, cool, I fucking love sitting here all the time.
Yeah, they love the same thing. So, yeah, I should have read more into going to the aggro side in that, and I think that's just a lack of practice on my part against Lotus, because I haven't played against Lotus.
People don't play it online. People just don't play it online, man.
Yeah, it doesn't get played online, so I just had no idea.
Yep.
That was it. So that was loss number 2 for me. And for those keeping track, 21 people, 3-2 to get to top 8.
To bubble in. So then my round 3 is Golgari mid-range. I have no takeaways from this matchup. His deck just didn't have any good cards, and I had good cards. So like that's really just it. Like, yeah. I don't mean to be a dickhead, but like his deck just didn't do anything.
Well, isn't the purpose of mid-range, though, to counteract the controls? Isn't that what they're supposed to? I think they're more geared towards going against control than aggro. Yeah.
But, like, also, where are your fatal pushes, dude?
Maybe he just didn't draw them.
Like, he Assassin's Trophied 2 of my cards. I had a Blossoming Defense for the first one. I was like, I'm like, all right, resolve damage. He goes, okay, Assassin's Trophy. I'm like, okay, cool. So I get to put out more damage by using this Blossoming Defense.
Nice. Yeah, you also weren't able to find a second pathway.
Oh, yeah.
For the tournament. So I had to give you a mountain from my stash along with some other card you needed.
Yeah.
And it was funny because it became relevant.
Yeah, so I had a base. So in game 2, he plays Assassin's Trophy on another one of my slick shots. And I already have my basic out on the battlefield. I'm like, oh, well, this is the one time this is relevant. Because like it comes in untapped, and we're still in damage, or we're still like before damage.
Yeah. So
I can cast another fucking spell on top of my other slick shot.
Hell yeah.
So like that helped me push through damage. But yeah, his deck just had like Assassin's Trophy is a fine card, but like when you're trading down in mana like that, when you're like using it to try to kill or trading even or trading down, it's just not good enough of a card, man.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a little. It sounds like he was maybe geared more towards the control side of things.
Maybe in Phoenix or like vampires.
Maybe that's the thing. Like I don't know.
I don't know what his deck was going for. He wound up going 3-2. Which,
nice.
Spoiler alert, makes me a little angry.
Oh, no. All right, so game number 4, right?
Round number 4.
Round 4. I go in the mirror. So I'm Waste Not versus Waste Not. And we kept pretty good pace with each other. Game 1, I was able to resolve... What was it? Liliana of the Veil.
Oh, yeah.
I was able to resolve Liliana of the Veil and have it stick before he was able to get his Shieldred down. And so then he played his Shieldred. I made him sack it, of course.
Why would you play a naked Shieldred against the Liliana?
Oh. No, I didn't have Liliana sack it. I had removal in hand, so before my turn, after he resolved it, I had him sack it with an edict. So
okay.
So that way I could then make him discard more with what's her face,
right,
Lily. This is all without a Waste Not on the field. So like I was just constantly having myself discard cards that felt really bad in the matchup, like a lot of the targeted creature removal and stuff.
Yeah.
So I was able to work my way through a lot of that stuff, and it was good. Game 2, I don't even remember what I brought in against him.
I would have to look at your list.
Yeah, I brought in Duresses for sure.
Yeah, to hit their opposing Waste Nots and Lilies and such.
Yeah, I brought in Duresses and Reckoner Bank Busters because I knew I was going to need card advantage.
Yes.
On this matchup. And there was like one other thing I brought in. I don't remember what. Maybe a Necromentia? Maybe just one to just like grab like whatever a threat could be.
Sure.
So there was that. He was able to just kind of get through me. Like I did turn one for both of us was a thought seize, and then we dirtled for the longest time.
Yeah.
He was able to resolve a Shieldred. I did not have removal for said Shieldred. No, I did, but then he Takenuma'd it back.
Okay.
He was able to Takenuma it back, and then I died fairly quickly to just Shieldred triggers.
Yeah, like 6 damage a turn cycle is a lot.
Yeah, and I just couldn't find secondary removal.
Yeah.
So, game 3, it did turn out to be this game was more intense on game 3. We both were able to resolve Reckoner Bankbusters and draw cards. He popped his first, like his final draw first. And I was able to kind of hold on to mine a little bit more.
Yep.
And it was like the second to last attack phase I had. And I had, like, basically we'd been whittling each other down all game. He was able to, like, I had Shieldred out, he had a Shieldred out at one time. Like, we were both, like, not gaining or losing life. As you do. I was able to then get a Karvek resolved. It's the 3 mana whenever you commit a crime, flash something back.
Yeah.
Essentially. And pay 2 life for that. And then, so I was able then to attack into him, commit a crime, remove any block. Well, so before attacking, I removed his blockers, committed a crime, unfortunately didn't have anything in the graveyard to target. And he had crewed with it was a Shieldred, right? Because it was Shieldred's Edict I had, and he crewed a Reckoner Bankbuster with the Shieldred for some reason to sack the Shieldred. And then I Demolition Field his Demolition Field.
Yeah.
To commit a crime so that way I could flash back the Shieldred's Edict and make him sack his Reckoner Bankbuster.
Yeah, that's a good play.
Because that was also a non-token creature, and he only had a pilot left. And I was swinging with a Reckoner Bankbuster, and I had a High Tyrant? Yeah, which he made me destroy. He destroyed with his thing in response to me doing stuff. So he blocked that. Yeah, and then, so that happened. His board state was completely wrecked, and I was able to push in the rest of the damage, because I had him down to 1 life at that point, after that attack. Yeah. So it was an intense matchup, but I was really happy about how it turned out.
Yeah, as for me, I played winning in against Boros, Planeswalkers, plus vehicles stuff. I've never seen this deck before in my entire life. Game 1, I just steamroll it. Like, I just have like the nuts, and I just steamroll it. And I'm like, there's no way this deck is any good. I have no real respect for this deck in any way, shape, or form. And also, I'm looking at my my sideboard. The only thing I brought in was Pick Your Poisons, because it had Angels, and it had although I think maybe Rending Volley also might have been fine here, but it had Angels, it had Vehicles, so I was like, cool. So artifacts and flying things, good.
Nice.
Pick Your Poison, great here. Game 2, I lose. Like, the game goes long and I just lose because they have like instant life gain through like lightning helix and shit. So, and they also have like a Wandering Emperor, which I didn't see in game 1. So I'm just like, okay, I didn't know that was there, so I didn't know to play around that anymore. And then in game 3, I get them down to 1 life, and then I'm at 7, and they're just able to kill me.
Yeah.
With like they have Wandering Emperor, Gideon Blackblade, and a 2/2. So they just give one of them a 2/2, a 1/1 counter, and just have exactly 7. So yeah, it was close. It was just like, I've never seen this deck before, and I don't think I kept good enough hands in games 2 and 3 to actually like truly apply pressure.
Yeah.
I think my problem with the deck is I see 2-drops and I'm like, these are fine, and it's like, these are not fine. I need like at least 1 or 2 1-drops, and then if I can also have a 2-drop in there, fine. But like generally, I want like 3. The ideal hand is like maybe a 1-drop, maybe a 2-drop, and then like 3 spells and 2 lands.
Yeah.
And I just wasn't getting that in any of my 7s, so I was just like, these are playable. I'll keep it because I anytime I feel like I get greedy is when I get like less than playable hands, and then I have to play that. It's just like, this is awful. So I'd rather keep a playable hand, but maybe that is incorrect with an aggro deck.
Yeah. I believe this guy and Bosch and Rule were teammates. No. They weren't.
She was not a teammate of Bosch.
She. Okay. All right. Yeah, because Bosch and Rule had posted his list on Twitter.
I'm fairly confident it's the exact same.
And it was a similar, if not the same.
I'm like 100% confident it's the exact same list.
Yeah. So it's like Super Friends.
It's Super Friends. Everything's 4 mana. So like the thing is like I should be killing them on these like by turn 5.
Yes, you should be killing them on turn 5.
Yes. I don't know. It's just what it was the only deck I was unfamiliar with in the format.
Yeah.
Like from today. I knew what Niftalite did, and I tried to do the same thing to Niftalite, but I just didn't keep fast enough hands. Yep. And this is a similar thing where I didn't keep fast enough hands because I had no real respect for the deck.
Yeah. I'm going to speedrun this because my kids just got home.
Yeah.
Last round for me was against mono red aggro.
Yep.
Game 1, they got stuck on 1 land, and I had all the removal. Resolve Shieldred and just
yeah.
Game 2, they had more lands, and I played it a little slower and just kept picking off their pieces.
Yep.
Resolve Shieldred and won.
Yeah. Unless they have Witchstalker Frenzy, they cannot get through Shieldred. Also, there's no protection.
Yeah.
Because not playing green and no Blossom Defense, which is like the best card.
Yeah.
That card's so good.
Yeah, and also I was able to pick their hand part before Shieldred to take care of any removal that they had.
Yeah. As for me, I played the Phoenix player you played in round 1.
Yeah.
He and his teammate took an ID in round 4. They were paired up against each other, and I heard them talking. They were sitting next to me. They're like, yeah, if we play each other, one of us is guaranteed in, one of us is likely guaranteed out.
I got some new sunglasses.
That's awesome, buddy. I'm glad that you got some sunglasses. Can you give Dada and his friend 1 minute? Thank you. I will see you in a moment.
You should have won that. It's fine. So yeah, they took an ID in round 4, and we're banking on just like them winning their round 5 matchups to get in. And so I played one of them, and game 1 I won. It's like I think I said it was Phoenix. Game 1 I won. I had blossoming defenses at the correct time. They misplayed a bit too. Like I feel like this is generally favored towards Phoenix in the first place.
Yeah, I think so because they just have a lot of card advantage.
But like you can do. There are ways to outplay them, and blossoming defense is a way to outplay them. And then game 2, I played Magebane Lizard on my turn 2 because I'm on the draw. Yep. And they immediately go, okay, Lava Axe or Lightning Axe. And I'm like, okay, that's fine. Hoping like that removal just is able to put me over the edge. It doesn't. I don't even get close in this game. So in game 3, on my turn 3 on the play, I play Magebane Lizard. And they go, okay, end step, Lightning Axe. And I'm like, there's just no fucking way you have Lightning Axe every time I have this. There's just not.
Oh, no.
It's just not possible.
Yeah.
I play it at the exact correct time. It's turn 3, right as they can go into Phoenix. And in game 3, they had the Ledger Shredder.
Yeah.
So I'm expecting them to just like connive, discard for Ledger Shredder, and then get the Phoenix. Well, I want you to take 6 damage to play the Phoenix.
Right.
Because 6 damage is a lot of damage to play Phoenix. It doesn't happen that way, and I get them. I just need to take one more damage. I had them at 1 life.
Yeah,
they're 1 life for multiple turns. I have a Den of the Bugbear, but I don't attack with it because they have like 5 mana up, and it's like if you take care of this Den of the Bugbear, I can't. I might have already played Gigantha by this point.
Oh yeah.
Or they removed Gigantha with a Lava Axe or Lightning Axe or whatever the hell it is.
Yeah.
So I'm just like, what do I do here? Do I just swing and hope that that's enough? And it just wasn't like. I think I psyched myself out there too.
Yeah. Did he reveal his hand to you? After?
No, I didn't want to see it.
Oh, okay.
Even if I would have been like, don't show me. I don't care. But like, I just got so close, and I was like, being off 1 damage in 2 matches in a row is insane. Mad.
It seems like you need like a damage to face spell of some kind.
Yeah, Wizard's Lightning.
Lightning.
But like, I look at that, I'm just like, you gotta be kidding me. I'm like 1 damage short. I'm in top 8 if I just deal 1 damage.
Yep. Speaking of top 8, that's a sore subject right now.
Yes, a little bit.
The Phoenix player you played and Bosch and Roll, since they were teammates and they did that ID, they did that on a gamble.
Yep. The gamble paid off.
And the gamble paid off. They both top 8'd, but it also coincidentally bumped me out of top 8.
Yeah.
Because I did not have enough points and they both did.
Yep.
So
it was a clean cut of 10 points, so 3-1, 3-0-1, get you there. And Bill was the highest ranked, 3-2.
Yep.
And if one of them loses, Bill's likely in.
Yeah, it was. It just hurt a little bit. I'm not mad at them for doing it because if it would have happened with Dan and I, we probably would have done the same.
A little less confident in my ability to get a win in it though. On 3-1-1.
Yeah, but
or on 2-1-1, I should say.
Yeah, but still, like I don't like if I was in their shoes, I would have done the same thing. I don't fault them for it. It just feels bad.
Yeah, it's just feels bad, man.
Yeah,
like I feel bad for you because like the top 8's right there. It's just like nope, it's a clean cut, 10 points.
And it's been so many RC seasons, and there was one where I top 8'd where it was a 9-person RC.
Yeah. Which it counts, but it doesn't.
It counts, but it doesn't.
And the prize pool for this was great. Like everyone in
top four
get duels, and then everybody else gets like half a box of OTJ, and it's like
it was a
pretty good prize.
It was a good prize,
decent prize pool.
I mean, the price it was about 20 more, I think, than a regular RC. I don't know, $30 is what you see. What do you typically see?
20.
Oh, you see 20.
Yeah, although for double slots, I see 40.
Okay, yeah.
Because this was also a double slot.
Yeah, I didn't know it was a double slot.
I didn't either. They didn't announce that there was a double slot.
Or they announced it and we missed that part.
Yeah.
But either way, yeah, it was a double slot. But it was 50, so which is a little more. Typically around here, they're $30.
20 to 30.
Yeah. So, that like it was 20 more, but also like it was really good price.
Yeah,
for what it was.
Yeah, especially considering it's 1 p.m. on a Friday.
Yeah, that was really good
on a rainy Friday. Really good prize support, pretty good turnout too, because that's about what I would see for an RCQ in my area in the first place. So
yep, fantastic. It was really fun. Dan, is there anything else we want to talk about today?
No. I think I need to look. I don't play Pioneer. This is my first time playing Pioneer since like
human season.
Since human season, and humans are still here, so like it might just be like a let's go back to humans.
Yeah, you also had never played that deck.
Never played
prior to the tournament.
I've had 0 reps on this deck, and I feel like for the most part, I played pretty well.
I think you did.
Obviously a little spots, but like I think it's more like the actual like the game experience of like okay, don't just keep hands with just 2 drops.
Yeah.
That doesn't win you games unless like it's a 2-drop. Like if it's like Kumino faces Kakuzan into Slick Shot, fine. Yeah. That's fine.
That makes sense. Yeah.
But like any other way is just kind of bad.
Yeah. Yeah, I get that. And then I think the takeaway I got is for me, everything I won, Shieldred resolved and was able to stick.
4 Shieldred.
No, probably not 4. But
break that bank.
I have 4. My deck list ran 2, and I was experimenting with a Tiny Bones in my deck against Lotus Field. Probably not the greatest, but against Rakdos Vampires, getting my own Sorin on the field, not terrible. But I think Tiny Bones comes out. The third Shieldred goes back. The Karvek, I think I keep at 2 because you don't want to overuse him because you have to pay 2 life every time.
Right.
But yeah, I think that's really the only change that I saw, and then just making better use of my plans.
Yeah. Changes. I don't think I'm making any changes currently. I'd have to play more with the deck. I will say that Magebane Lizard was horribly just underperformed very badly. Every time I played it, the opponent just had the answer for it, and it's just like, okay, if you're just gonna have the answer for it, then just don't play it and just play aggro, I guess. But like, yeah, I'm not ready to throw it out yet, but it's just like, yeah, Phoenix is just gonna have the lightning axe for it every time, and it's just gonna attempt lockdown by the Lotus Field player every time, and there's just no reason to even try to play this card.
Yeah, I can see. Yeah, I don't know like where that card is going to fit. If like, I don't think it's necessarily great in your sideboard unless you have Blossoming Defense in hand to protect it.
Yeah, if I but like I'm playing it on the if on the draw, I'm playing it on my turn 2 against those 2 decks.
Yeah.
Although I think it actually might be more correct to play it on turn 3 against Lotus Field.
Yeah,
because like you really can't combo off with Lotus. Like you can untap and then like play like a you could have like the hit like the cycle then the hidden strings, but like what are you doing? Like you're just gaining 1 mana each turn as opposed to like having a thespian stage and then copying. So like I think maybe playing it on turn 3 against Lotus Field is correct, but like on the draw and then on the play like playing on turn 4. But like against Phoenix, I played it at the correct time.
Yeah,
maybe a turn early. Yeah. Because they didn't have Phoenixes in the graveyard. So maybe it just needed to be there, and maybe I need to pop out a different threat. But like, yeah, very unimpressed by Magebane Lizard.
There's one play that I made that was a mistake against the Lotus Field player.
Oh yeah,
and his teammate questioned my play before everything resolved because I was fatally pushing something that was 4 mana.
Yep, you were hitting. It was the Vizier Tumbling Sands 3 mana card.
Yeah. Oh, it was 3. Not
but like it still need Revolt.
Yeah. I needed Revolt, and like he did something in response, and he had talked at the same time about like, oh, is Revolt triggered? And then I was like, oh, thank you. Let me Demolition Field this other like at this thing he has.
Yeah.
To trigger Revolt, and it just made his game a lot harder. But it didn't, unfortunately, it ended up not mattering or something.
Yeah, he still won, but like
it was just a funny. Like, if you're spectating, don't say words.
That's what I say. Is like don't like let players catch it. Like I know you didn't legal play, and I walked away because I'm like I can't say anything because again I'm not in the game.
Yeah,
if you call a judge if you want somebody to. I didn't
illegal play.
Well, actually, it's not a legal play.
It's allowed to target.
It's just it wouldn't destroy. Yeah. But yeah, I walked away, and like when I heard him pipe up, I generally don't like that.
Yeah,
I think that is bad sportsmanship.
I agree.
Yeah. I think the players are both responsible. Like, yes, the ultimate decision is correct. Like he is correct, but like he's not a judge.
Right. Yeah.
That's my whole thing. Is like if you're a judge and you catch that, absolutely say something. But if you're just a random bystander at a competitive REL event and both players miss it, then both players miss it, man. It happens.
Yeah, exactly. I don't have anything else.
No, that's it for me.
With that, then, leave us comments below. Let us know kind of how your Pioneer RCQ season's going. Let us know about your One Piece stuff. We're going to start using One Piece tags now in the videos because we're talking One Piece.
Might start putting my local stuff up there.
I'm starting
for actual content.
I'm actually not going to mind that. And then, keep calm, spike on,